today we want to repeat, and also for first years, this would be your first time to look at these slides. It is a requirement by your accreditation body. All programs must, all students for all programs must know and be aware of the outcome-based education system. All right, so for this semester, let's begin. Okay, next slide. Okay, so first, you need to know that at the end of this quiz, at the end of this talk, you are required to answer a quiz. It's very easy. It's only 10 questions. You can see it. Okay, so question 1, what is ETHM? Question 2, what is OBE? Question 3, what is CLO? Question 4, what is CQI? Question 5, how many POs are there? Question 6, how many PLOs? Question 7, what are the essence of OBE? Question 8, what are the PO, PLO, and CLO access? Question 9, why is CQI needed? Question 10, select the false statement. Okay, so all objective questions, very easier. At the end of this talk, all students are required to answer all the questions. All right, so at the end of this talk, we hope that you will be able to explain your understanding of OBE effectively. Keep in mind that students will be called for interview yearly, and for many purposes, for audit and also for accreditation. So students will be involved, and this is the content that you might need to explain or answer when you are asked questions. Okay, so we hope also you'll be able to demonstrate how OBE has been implemented in your courses and your program, and we hope you are able to appreciate the need of OBE. Okay, so what is OBE? Look at the date, it's 1994. OBE is not a new thing. It is implemented throughout the whole world. You can name it in other universities, in NUS, National University of Singapore, in US, they're using OBE. OBE, outcome-based education, is basically the education system for tertiary education, the system that we are using to produce graduates. Okay. So there are a few abbreviations that you must know. Okay, so OBE, outcome-based education, PEO, program educational objectives, PLO, program learning outcomes, CLO, course learning outcomes, CQI, continuous quality improvement, ETAC, that is your accreditation body, and BEM is the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, and IEM is a society. Okay, so why OBE? Why do we need OBE? Oops. Okay, of course, OBE is a system. If you do not have a system, of course, the government and also all the bodies will not give us any accreditation. So in order for your certificate, your bachelor's degree certificate to be accredited, we must have a system which is OBE lah. So it's better to have a system than no system, of course. So we are using OBE in your tertiary education. Okay, so basically these are the accords. Okay, in the whole world, okay, you have this International Engineering Alliance, which accreditate which accredited university programs, bachelor programs. Okay, so the Washington Accord is for the engineering programs. Sydney Accord is for the engineering technology programs. For your engineering technology programs, we'll be following Sydney Accord. Yeah. Okay, Dublin Accord is for diploma programs. Okay, so in Malaysia, we have the Board of Engineers Malaysia. Okay, under the Board of Engineers Malaysia, you have the Engineering Council and you have the Engineering Technology Accreditation Council. So we'll be undering ETAC, and ETAC will be following the Sydney Accord. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, so what's the difference between engineering and engineering technology and technology? Okay, so basically engineering do more research and design on the left side. You need to be stronger in mathematics, engineering, sciences, and your professional courses are more theoretical. While technologies, you'll be more on the supervision and maintenance. So you do not need so strong mathematics, just appropriate mathematics, appropriate amount of science, and your professional courses are more practical. So being in engineering technology is somewhere in between. Okay. Okay. So ETech, okay, the Engineering Technology Accreditation Council in Malaysia, they produce out these manuals or these guidelines. We call them Engineering Technology Program Accreditation Standard, the left one. Okay, the right one is the diploma standard or the guideline. This we okay. So we follow the guideline in order to build your program and to implement, and also how we basically how we run your whole program for these 4 years. Okay, so what is IEM? IEM is the Institution of Engineers Malaysia. It's a society. It's not a governing body. It's a society. Okay, so it's a qualifying body for you to get your professional engineers in Malaysia lah. Okay. Okay, so what is outcome-based education? Okay, basically it's a system, as I mentioned. Okay, it focuses on student-centered learning philosophy. Okay, so basically it's not lecture-centered learning philosophy, it's student-centered learning philosophy. Okay, next. Okay, so it's not what the teacher teach, it's what the student learn. So so basically what you should be able to have, you should have knowledge, you should have effective. Effective is how much you like this thing. We hope to graduate you as someone who like this program, instead of after you graduate you do not like it. We want you to like this thing. Okay, and we want you to give psychomotor, refers to hands-on skills lah. Okay, so how do we do OBE? Is based on student-centered delivery. Take note that students involvement is highly needed. Okay, so how do you know you have achieved the outcomes? Basically, it's through assessment. Okay, and basically we of course improve after each cycle. So we have the CQI, continuous quality improvement. Okay, so everything is focused on the learning outcomes. So the learning outcomes, okay, you have 3 levels of learning outcomes of the program educational objectives, the PO. The second level of learning outcome is the PLO, program learning outcomes. And for every semester you have your courses. So you have the third level, which is course learning outcomes. So everything is focused on the learning outcomes. Okay, so we design your curriculum, design your course, your syllabus, and everything based on what we want, what are the outcomes now, what we want you to achieve. How we deliver the teaching and learning experience is focused on also the outcomes. How we assess you also is based on the outcomes. So how we evaluate the course, evaluate the program is all based on what we want to achieve at the end of the day. And how we improve how we improve your program after each cycle of students, also based on what we want to achieve lah. Basically, it's based on the learning outcomes. Okay, so this is a simple analogy of OBE. Okay, in a factory, you have your raw materials coming into the factories. The raw materials, for example, we want to make furniture, wood furniture. We have wood coming into the factory. Okay, the wood that comes into the factory, it must have a minimum specification. Okay, it undergoes processes, tools. Okay, the workers work on the raw material to make it into the furniture. Okay, so the furniture, which is the product, okay, it must meet certain specification, must meet certain standard, must meet certain quality before we can sell the furniture, correct? Okay, so now we look at the university. So the university receives students. As students, you have to enter the university with minimum entry requirements. So you come into the university as a first year for 4 years. Okay, you undergo the curriculum, the syllabus, you meet the lecturers who are the workers, the teaching and learning processes and activities. You go through assessment, okay, core curriculum and all those things, and then you come out after 4 years as graduates. Your graduates, we measure you based on the specifications of the program and the learning outcomes, okay? And then you go to the clients, which is your employers, which is the employers who will take you to work. Okay, so how do we implement OBE? Let's look at that. Okay, so as mentioned, there's 3 levels: the PEO, Program Educational Outcomes. It is measured, it is the objectives that we set that graduates after 3 to 5 years. After 3 to 5 years, we expect the alumni to achieve certain objectives. Okay, which I want to stress here. So therefore, if you notice your penasihat akademik dan kerjaya PAK, why there's a K there? Because kerjaya is to cover the 3 years after you graduate. Okay, so keep in contact with your PAK after you graduate. Okay, PLO is measured upon graduation. That means when you finish your 4 years of education here in UTHM. Okay, so there is 12 learning outcomes that all graduates need to achieve. Okay, and then finally you have course learning outcomes, which is the learning outcomes of each and every course. So if you and it's measured at the end of the semester. So each course, if you notice, the courses are mapped to the PLO, okay, and the PLO are mapped to the PEO lah. So there's 3 levels. Again, there's 3 levels of objectives or outcomes that all students have to achieve. Okay, so basically everything happens in a cycle. We plan the outcomes, okay, then we deliver, okay, your teaching and learning experience, and we do your assessment through lecture, labs, exams, and others, and then we have to check whether the the objective or outcomes have been achieved, and do some analysis, and we have to do improvement. So the next cycle, we begin with adjusting our plans so that we can do better for the next batch of students. Okay, so let's look at your program. Okay, so program educational outcomes measured 3 to 5 years after you graduate. So keep in mind, 3 to 5 years after you graduate, when you're in the working industry, you have to help your university to take a survey on PEO achievements. Okay, and your data that you give back to university will help in the overall program accreditation. So you can say now, yes, your seniors are doing this for you. They are responding to the survey, so that your program now can be accredited. Okay, so basically there are 3 program educational objectives. Okay, so the first one is practice with fundamental and current knowledge in your field. Okay, your field can be chemical, civil, electrical, or mechanical, or transportation. Okay, in line with the industry development, specializing in your specialization. Okay, that's PEO number 2 and PEO number 3. I think students can read this by themselves. Okay, next. So how many PLOs? Okay, let's look at numbers of PLO. Okay, you have the current 2020-2021 semester 1. We have basically two batch. The intake for beginning October Sem 1, that means first year, first semester, you only have 12 PLOs. Okay, for the other batch of intake, other cohort students, you have 13 PLOs. Okay, so Pemunian 3 is for current 4th years. Okay, 4th years, you'll be using this 13 PLOs or POs. Okay, Pemunian 4 is for 2nd years and 3rd years generally. Okay, so it's slightly different. For example, it's slightly different. For example, PLO 2, okay, between 3 and 4, one is practical skill, one is modern tools. PLO 4, critical thinking and investigation, and PLO 9, leadership skills and project management and finance, and so on lah. Okay, so and Pemunian 5 on the right side, the gray one, okay, that is for first year students. Okay, so first year students, remember you have 12 PLOs only, yeah? Okay, so those are in detail, PLO1 knowledge, okay, problem analysis, design. Okay, hold on, I want to also explain to you for first years, you have LOD, okay? For first years, this semester, you have PLO and LOD. LOD stands for learning outcome domains, okay? So, okay, next. Okay, so we look at, we can see this is PLO 4, 5, 6, 7, okay, learning outcome domains, LOD 4, and so on, continue, until PLO 12 here. Okay. Okay, so in your outcomes, there's generally three domains. Okay, so you have the cognitive domain, which is basically your knowledge and how much you can use it's about the mind and your knowledge and how you use the knowledge. Okay, you have the affective domain. Affective domain is basically how much you like this the course, the program. Okay, and you have your psychomotor domain, which is the practical skills, your hands-on skills. Okay, so the three of these domains will bring out a well-balanced graduate. Okay, so this is an example for course level. So you remember you got PO, PLO, and CLO. Okay, for CLO course levels, okay, so you got the course learning outcomes. This is an example of a course. Okay, so you have commonly you have 3 CLOs. Sometimes you have more, but commonly you have 3 CLO for each course. Okay, you will notice that CLO 1 is mapped to the cognitive domain, C5 there. CLO 2 is mapped to the psychomotor domain, and CLO 3 is mapped to the affective domain. So effective for first year, first semester students, you have another domain, which is the learning outcome domain. So instead of having PLO and C only, you have PLO, C, and LOD. Okay. Okay, so for 3 levels of outcomes that students need to achieve, okay, of course there's a possibility, what if the students fail to achieve the outcomes? Okay, so we have to do continuous quality improvement, CQI. Okay, so CQI is implemented in each level, the CLO, the PLO, and also the PEO. Okay, next. Okay, so the cycle, if you notice, okay, so we in the for each course you have the CLOs, and then after the teaching, start with the CLOs. Okay, you have the teaching and learning process, and then you assess the student. Okay, and then we have to do continuous improvement every semester. The PLOs is the same thing. After 4 years, before you graduate, before you have your convocation, you have to fill in a exit survey. Therefore, those what you fill in for your exit survey is how we assess you. One of the assessment of your 4 years education here in FTK So you have to do it. We need the data. This data will be presented to your accreditation body. Okay, and then of course, we hope that you all you achieve all the outcomes, of course. But if again there is we cannot achieve the outcomes, then we have to do CQI. Okay, then 3 to 5 years after you graduate, again we have to assess the alumni. Okay, we have to request the alumni to fill up a tracer study, a tracer survey. Okay, and when you fill that up, you will get your data and we'll be able to present your data to the accreditation body. Okay, we need all this data to be presented to the accreditation body for your continuous accreditation of your program. Simple said lah. Okay, all these PEO, PLO, and CLOs must be in line with the vision and mission of the faculty and the university. Okay, so basically these are the cycles again. Okay, basically you can look like it is dependent. Okay, the course learning outcomes is depending on the program learning outcomes. Okay, so they are all in cycles. Okay, the program learning outcomes also, and then the PO. And you notice that PO is determined by the stakeholders. Okay, we determine the PO based on the advisory committee, based on the stakeholders, based on the vision and mission of the faculty and AST, and also the alumni. Okay. So what happens at program level? Okay, so there's two ways. First there's monitoring. Okay, we have to monitor that for every semester, or at least every year, we have to monitor each and every one of the students to ensure that you are on your way to achieve the PLOs. Okay, and we can do that through a system called OBESIS lah. Okay, while for assessment at the end of 4 years, okay, we will assess students, we will assess graduates through 3 tools. We will assess the graduates through 3 tools. Basically, the OBESIS marks again, okay, and then there's an exit survey, which is your graduates have to fill up this form, and also exit survey industrial perception, which is at the end of your industrial training, your industrial training supervisor will fill up the form. So 3 tools, 3 types of assessment, whether the graduates has achieved the program learning outcomes or not. All right. So this is example of OBESIS. You can see there's PLO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 up there. So the system will calculate the attainment or the marks for each PLO. Okay. Okay, so for students, you can check your own PLO attainment through SMAP online, through SMAP. Okay, so at examination details, you click the icon, the bar icon. Okay, OBE attainment, you click the bar icon. Okay, and then you get your latest examination, semester examination results. Okay, click at the latest examination results. You will get, next slide. Okay, you will get, this is example lah. So you will get how much marks for each PLO. Okay, so red is obviously fail. This is an example lah. So red is fail the PLO. Okay, black is you pass the PLO. So PLO attainment of each semester is displayed for each course. Okay, next slide. Okay, so you'll be able to view the bar chart and also the spider web of your PLO attainments. Okay, so at course level. So at course level, you usually before week 9, you have your test 1 and your marks should be presented to you, okay, before week 9. Okay, so students who achieve less than 50% marks, okay, need to undergo CQI, such as extra classes, personal tutoring, and so on. So of course, this mid CQI will benefit the student in the current course. Okay, so so next is end CQI. So during the semester, you will have mid CQI and end CQI. End CQI is done at the end of the semester, but we just receive your, we can only analyze after you have finished. So it will benefit the next batch of students. Okay, next. Okay, so this is example at the end of the course. Okay, so there you have it. The course learning outcomes will be mapped to the program learning outcomes. The course learning outcomes will be mapped to the program learning outcomes, and that is the KPI. Okay, that's the KPI. Okay, that the students need to achieve, and that is on the right here is the course learning outcomes statements. So this is what we plan for you to achieve. Okay, next. Okay, so for this batch, okay, everyone achieve all CLO and PLO lah, simply said. Okay, next. So again, we can also look at your individual achievements. Okay, this is fluid mechanics. So for this batch, you can see that commonly the first row is for CLO1, second row CLO2, third row CLO3. So for this batch, we can see that there's quite many students that fail to achieve CLO1, PLO1. Okay, next. So we are done. We are quite done. So now you ask yourself, have you attained your all these outcomes? Are you able to explain your understanding on OBE effectively? Keep in mind that every year you'll be interviewed. Students will be selected for interview. Okay, so I hope you are able to explain your understanding of OBE later. Okay, so I hope you'll be able to demonstrate how OBE has been implemented, and I hope you'll be able to appreciate the need of OBE in your tertiary education. Okay. So again now, so education is outcome based, okay, it's learner centered, result oriented system. Okay. It is founded on the belief that all individuals can learn. Okay. So okay, we will give you the link to answer the quiz, the 10 questions of in the quiz. Okay, all students are required to answer those questions. You're required to submit, and then we need to take evidence that you have submitted. Okay, these are all requirements that we need the university to do, and since we want to have a system, so this is the system basically lah. So those are the questions. Okay, you will find it in your Google form quiz. Okay, so thank you.